Knowledge for Men, episode 101.
Welcome to knowledgeformen.com, where you're going to grow into the man you want to be. Your life will never be the same again. I can guarantee it.
Hey guys, one of the questions I've been getting a lot lately is, can you put together a list of the best books and success quotes from all of your guests and combine that into one guide? And so I've actually just done that. It's called the top 30 books and success quotes every man must live by. So out of all of the podcast episodes I've done, over 60, I finally put together this guide, and you can download it for free at kfmfree.com. Again, that's kfmfree.com. All right, guys, I'm here with David Hrostoski. He's a recent college dropout, adventurous, traveler, and seeker of life. David, happy to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, David, you listened to the show, so let's dive in. What's your favorite success quote, and explain to the audience why you chose it?
Cool. So my motto for life is, in the face of fear, take a bold step forward. And that's really how I do everything. So at any given point, if something's super scary, it's how I know that I need to be doing it, or that's the path that I should be chasing.
I'm about that life. So you chase the fear. Whatever's scary, that's what you move into.
Yeah, totally. Because it's just pushing my outer limits. It's pushing my edge. And that's how I know that I'm growing, is if I'm scared for every action that I'm taking.
And you just recently took a very bold move by dropping out of college, David. So let's take a few steps back, though, and learn more about you and what led you to make this decision. So the kind of the story and the build up to the decision to drop out, and then we'll go into like what you're going to do now. So yeah, to share with the audience how this all started.
Yeah, totally. So a week after I graduated high school in 2011, my mother passed away. And that was really the moment that my brother woke up. And that was the moment that I woke up. And we both kind of got started on this path of personal development. He quit his corporate job. He ended a relationship. Like, his life just totally changed. And we both decided to go on a 4,200-mile road trip around the country called the Hrostoski road trip. Our last name is Hrostoski, so we called it the Hrostoski road trip.
I like that.
We spread her ashes in 40 different locations, kind of around the eastern coast of North America. And it was just an overall incredible experience. We stayed with awesome people. And the next year, the summer of 2012, we decided to step it up. And we did a 12,000-mile road trip called A Summer to Serve. We blogged about it. We did volunteer work over a 94-day span, and went through 30 cities or so. And it was just an overall unbelievable experience. And that's when I decided I wanted to make money online, and I wanted to dive more into personal development and just not go on the traditional path. I was still in college. It was like my sophomore year of college then, but I decided that I was going to do something different. So I joined a fraternity that was all about personal development. A month later, I was appointed president by the headquarters, the guys who were out from our national headquarters in Virginia. And that was the absolute biggest growth experience of my life. It showed me what leadership was. It showed me how to delegate, how to get work done, and how to lead teams and inspire people. And from there, really, like, I started to coach more, I started to teach more, I started to write a lot more, and kind of follow in my brother's footsteps. He's Mike Hrostoski, the men's coach, and I'm kind of doing something similar, but growing a community for young, growth-oriented people called Gen Y Superhumans. So now my path is really just learning as much as possible and kind of taking a non-traditional path. And as I'm sure we'll talk about more, I recently dropped out of college.
All right. Well, you just went through so much in such a short amount of time. So let's see here. All right. So it seems like with the passing of your mother and the road trip with you and your brother, Mike, this seemed like just such a big turning point in your personal growth along with your brothers. Can you talk more about that trip? And how much time were you guys spending doing this? It seemed like you guys were traveling for quite a bit.
Yeah, they were pretty quick, actually. The first one was just a few weeks. We just kind of made a stop every 2 or 3 days. We're always on the road. We got really comfortable sitting in a car. And the next trip, A Summer to Serve, was 94 days. So it was just 3 months. And we both did them during our summer vacation, or during my summer vacation. And yeah, I just fit it in while still going to school. But it was really like the 3 months that I was really living and really having a good time. And I always felt kind of like crap every single time I went back to school. And I always felt like a little bit depressed and off my purpose and just not living the life that I wanted to live.
Yeah, I think a lot of students are in that searching phase, and sometimes school just isn't the right place. I mean, I can surely relate. And one thing I wanted to point out was your brother, Mike Hrostoski, he's been on the show. So for the listeners, I believe it's like episode 35 or 36. So I just want to kind of connect some of the dots here now that you're on the show. So he was working a corporate job and you were in school. So you guys are both running these busy lives. And so there was probably a lot of time that you guys weren't spending with each other and probably like growing apart maybe in some ways. I'm trying to draw some similarities here. And I wonder if this trip that you guys had kind of brought you guys back together. You know, I'm wondering, what did you guys learn about each other during that experience?
Yeah, it's funny. So he's 12 years older than me. So when I was going into kindergarten, he was graduating high school, and we just have always had this huge age gap. I was always the little brat that he had to take around, and my parents were always like, "Oh, take David with you, please," and he would like take me to parties, and I would like run out my underwear and be that little silly kid running around. And I guess when we went on that first road trip, it was the first time we ever bonded as brothers. It was the first time we ever had an awesome experience together. And that was the moment we both realized, like, wow, like my brother's kind of cool. Like I like spending time with him. He's not like this just like old man who's doing his thing, or like I'm not just this young kid who's gonna like mess up his plans. So it was awesome. The first road trip, we had zero arguments. It was like the smoothest thing ever. And the next year we had a few more arguments. I think one was about like wanting to buy two $5 footlongs at Subway versus one. We didn't want to spend a lot of money because we were on a budget during the road trip. But overall, it was the biggest bonding experience ever. And if you spend 94 days in a car with anyone, you're bound to get to know them pretty well. So.
Or hate them. I mean, either one's possible. So when you got back, you got into leadership with a fraternity. So can you dive deeper into what did you learn about leadership inside the fraternity? What did this fraternity teach you?
Yeah, it was super cool. It's not officially a personal development fraternity, it's a social fraternity, but like that's our thing is our tagline was like building balanced men, and it was all about like sound mind, sound body, like being a better person overall. And we were following like such by the book, and we were given this incredible program, and it was just the best leadership experience in my life. I just learned like how to delegate. Like I met 3 or 4 times a week with these guys, and it just like made me step up in a big way. Like for the first time ever, I had 60 dudes who were looking to me for advice and for leadership, and it made me step into like, wow, I guess no leaders really know what they're doing, but I can kind of pretend I know what I'm doing, be really transparent with things that I don't know what I'm doing, and just really, really take the organization to a vision that I crafted in my head. And I guess I learned in that experience that like really all leadership is having that vision and figuring out how to get us there with all the resources that we have.
Okay, so from here, it sounds like you're really enjoying college. So now what led you to want to drop out when it sounds like you're leading this organization? It sounds like you're doing better and you're kind of finding your thing, your purpose in school, and you dropped out. So what happened here?
Yeah, so it really wasn't that long ago. It was July and
You're like, it's so soon.
totally.
I just got this figured out.
July 18th, it was like 4 a.m. I was just up super late, kind of delusional, typing on my laptop. And for some reason, I was just kind of compelled to look up what the dropout date would be. Every single summer after those road trips, I always debated whether I wanted to go back. So I just looked it up. It was September 5th. I knew that by September 5th, 2014, I had to make a decision. That was the last day I could drop classes and get all my tuition back. And the next morning, I looked at that and I was like, wow, like I guess I took the time to look when the last day that I could drop out is. And it's a really scary thing to do. And I know it would be the path that leads to the most growth. So I think I should just do it. Like in the face of fear, take a bold step forward. I was unbelievably terrified, had no idea what my life would be like coming back to Tucson. I already signed a lease in Tucson, so I knew I was going to be in Tucson where the university is, but I really just didn't want to go back. It was 20 to 30 hours every single week of studying materials and studying books and talking to teachers and talking to people who I really wasn't a big fan of. So I just decided to take the leap. I went on and wrote out a post, and it was called Dropping Out of College and Dropping into Life. I made a little picture in Photoshop, and as soon as I hit publish, that's when I knew that I was going to do it. I hadn't even dropped my classes yet, but making that social commitment online was the way for me to say like, yeah, I guess I am really doing this.
Huh, wow. So what did you feel when you hit because you write your post, and when anybody's gonna write like something pretty emotional or vulnerable, you kind of hover your mouse, your scroller around the post button, and then you finally hit post. So what did you feel in that moment?
It was actually a really cool moment for me and Mike. I was standing there like 5 feet from my laptop, like kind of in a horse stance, and I was like, "All right, I think I'm gonna do this." And I had him read the post beforehand, and he was like, "Yo, man, I don't know. Like, it's kind of risky. It's kind of silly. Like, you only have a year left. You only have 21 credits left. Like, you could just finish it out. You're gonna be in Tucson anyway." And I looked him in the eyes and I said, "Mike, I'm gonna stop looking to you for approval in all the big decisions in my life, but I would really love your support in this." And then I jumped forward and hit post. So it was as epic as it sounds, and that was the moment that it all really happened.
Well, you're hyping it up so much that I can't let you just out the door without reading that post. So if you have it there in front of you, if it's just on Facebook, if you could just click to it and share with the audience what you wrote,
Yeah, totally.
I think that could be really meaningful.
Cool. So there was a title in all caps at the top: "Dropping out of college and into life." If I were to drop out of college, I'd be dropping out of the only thing that isn't a hell yes. I love myself, I love my partner, I love my brother, I love my friends, I love my mission, but in its current form, college isn't anywhere near the top of that list. If I were to drop out of college, I'd have 20 to 30 more hours a week to rest, play, and create. I'd wake up in the morning inspired. I'd get serious about my business. I'd be lighter and more carefree. I'd be a better partner and more open to love. I'd make more money and save $4,000 to $5,000 in expenses. If I were to drop out of college, I would lose my excuse to put off what makes me happy. If I were to drop out of college, the only doors that would close to me are those I will never choose to walk through. Can you imagine me in a suit making spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations? I talk about purpose and living to your edge. I talk about doing what you love no matter what. I talk about living your life, and I'm too afraid to live mine. I come home from class each and every day drained and depressed, and I choose to do it anyway. I choose to tune into my father's loaded advice. Just finish out and get a steady income. It just isn't worth taking risks in this system of things. I choose to listen to the script that I'm not enough of a man without that piece of paper. But deep down, I know life's too short to not take risks. Life's too short to not do what lights me up. And I am enough. Today, I found out that one of my closest friends passed away in a terrible accident. He died full, doing the things he loved. I respect him to my very core for the life he lived, and his death reminded me of what's really important. I could die tomorrow. I could die today. And if I did, I'd look back and regret for spending so much time in transition. Every summer, I struggle with the idea of going back to the U of A, and now I realize it's because I never really wanted to. I hate paying for classes I don't enjoy. I hate paying for books I never read. I hate pretending to fit in when I just want to stand out. But I do it anyway, and I quickly lose sight. I forget that today is real life. I forget how short and fragile our existence is. I forget that I'm in charge of my life, and I make the choices. I sit and avoid working on my business, frozen in fear. I avoid making any big decisions because I'm terrified that I'll fail. And the worst part of it all is that by choosing nothing, I choose the default. I choose depression. I choose mediocrity. I choose to dim my light. But today I'm taking a stand. I'm making a new choice. I'm overusing the title of student to opt out of consciousness. I'm over the idea of climbing the ladder of tradition out of ego and not out of love. I'm over saying to myself, just one more year before I start my life and do what makes me happy. I'm scared shitless. I have no idea what I'm doing. But do we ever? If I were to drop out of college, I'd be free. I'm dropping out of college. I'm dropping into life. This is for you, Max Mendoza.
Oh, man, that was incredible. I'm being moved just listening to you talk right now. And I think you just made a few people want to drop out or quit their job. I guarantee there's a few people right now who are highly considering doing that. And what I found interesting, just point out a few things here, is you told your brother before, you told your brother you're going to stop looking to him for the big decisions in life. And to me, I view this as almost just kind of like becoming your own man and stepping up. And this isn't so much about dropping out of college, because I think if we look deeper, it's about taking responsibility of your life, almost like a rite of passage.
Yeah, really, it was the one thing that I was kind of just crapping on myself with. It was the one thing that I didn't really love in my life. And I knew if I wanted to live on purpose, and if I wanted to be happy, and if I wanted to do what I love, then I needed to do it. I needed to drop out.
Yeah, and I can relate. When I quit my job a little over a year ago now, to start building this website, Knowledge for Men, and this community and build this brand. That was my leap of faith,
Yeah.
which is similar to what you did. You just quit, jump ship, and you don't really know exactly what you're going to do, but you know that you're capable of doing what you want to do. So that's why you do it. And I remember a few weeks after I quit, and after all the hype just dies down, I was like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Like, did I just really quit my job? Like, I had a good, corporate paying well job with benefits. And, how am I going to pay for my bills? I have student loans. I have massive debts everywhere, credit cards. I just quit my job. What am I going to do? I can't just show up back to my work and be like, just kidding. I want my job back. Although I guess you could just go back and enroll next semester in college. But how do you feel right now in this moment?
Yeah, it's funny that you say I could just go back because I think I really can't. I think there are enough people who have seen that post on Facebook that I just really can't go back anymore. I've made tons of public declarations online. I made back in January 1st, my brother and I decided to do a sober marathon. It was 26.2 weeks of no drinking. And it was from January 1st to July 4th. And I put on Facebook, I was like, hey guys, I'm not going to drink till July 4th. And when July 4th came around, I put another post. I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to drink ever again. And I still haven't. And there have been so many urges, but I'm like, man, you know how many people would be disappointed if I posted oh, sorry, just kidding. I'm drinking again. Or if I posted pictures of me drinking, that social accountability has been so huge for me. And I really don't think I have a choice anymore. I think I have to do this. I have to build out my business. I need to build out my personal brand. I need to work on the projects that I'm working on and really, really stay true to it.
Yeah, you want to have that integrity. You said you're going to do something, so you're going to follow through and see it to the end.
Totally.
Complete the story.
Yeah, that's huge. That's one of the biggest characteristics of being an on-purpose man.
Yeah, absolutely. And how is the no drinking sobriety challenge going for you right now?
Yeah, I used to say I hadn't had a drop of alcohol since January 1st, but I had a non-alcoholic beer on my birthday. I turned 21 on July 28th. So I guess there may have been a drop or two in there. But yeah, I haven't had an actual drink since January 1st to 2014.
Huh. Well, congrats there. And I want to know, was drinking a challenge in your life? What kind of relationship did you have with alcohol?
It just definitely was a numbing tool. It was the same as lots of other things like eating or drugs for some people. There's just all these different things that we use to numb out and to ignore what we really want to do in life. And that's what it was for me. So I realized I kind of had a problem. I was drinking a little bit too much. And I decided hey, if I quit for a little bit, I can get tons done. I'll grow a lot. And by the time July 4th came around, I was like, wow, this is incredible. My digestion's better. I feel better. I'm an overall better human being. I'm not having urges all the time to cheat on my girlfriend. I'm not having urges to steal stuff or to be super irresponsible. I don't have an excuse anymore to live off purpose or to be out of integrity. So I just decided, I just wasn't gonna drink again.
That's the key phrase right there. An excuse to live off purpose. That's very key. It's so true, actually.
Yeah.
You'll make mistakes when you're drunk, and you'll be like, oh, but I was drunk. Doesn't count. What stays in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, not everything. Anyways, so here with you, I see a history of taking responsibility of your life and staying on track, staying on purpose.
Yeah, I definitely had a huge realization a couple months ago that wow, I make the choice to do every single thing that I do every single day. I make the choice of when I get up, if I roll over again in bed, to hit the snooze button. I make the choice if I'm gonna go to college. I make the choice if I'm gonna go to my job today. I make the choice for everything. Even all the big quote unquote responsibilities in our life are still choices. We have to make that choice every single day. And sometimes it feels like we don't have that choice, but really you can just not do anything and you can make that choice. You can go live off grid. You can make that choice. Or you can be a professional chef. You can do whatever you want. You just have to make that declaration and just go for it.
Yeah. And just sitting here in my chair listening to you, David, I could feel the transformation inside of you. Just massive amounts of growth in such a short amount of time. So what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned so far on this journey?
Yeah, I wrote a post the day after I turned 21, and there were 21 things, 21 lessons. I put here are 21 core truths I choose to live by today. And the first one is love is limitless, and that's what I live by now. I just choose to believe that love is limitless. I choose to believe that I can receive love from every single person, that I can give love to every single person, and there's no reason to ever put limits on it. So even in my relationship, we have very strict boundaries, no kissing, no touching on ass, breast, genitals. no like touching with a sexual intent, but outside of that, like we don't restrict the love that we give to other people. So I have like some friends in San Diego that I'll like say I love you to. Like there are so many people in my life that I'll say I love you to, and in the past that would have been a huge deal, but now it's just like, wow, I guess it doesn't affect our relationship whatsoever. So like love really is limitless, and the more I choose to receive, the more I'll get in the end. So that's been a really, really huge takeaway. And of course, like the motto at the beginning too, like in the face of fear, take a bold step forward. Those two things are really like kind of how I live my life. I just choose to accept tons of love into my life, accept abundance, accept money, accept gifts, accept just all the good stuff, and reject the bad because I have the choice. And then when I see something that scares me and will probably help me grow, then I just take that first step forward.
Yeah, and continue on. Like I'm really liking what you have here so far.
Yeah, totally. I can run through them. The third one was if you want to live, you have to accept death. And that was one of my big realizations from, I had a coaching business. It was the first one I started. My mindset was like, oh, sell them what they want, give them what they need. So I called it How to Get Girls in College. It ended up being a massive failure. I maybe had like six people subscribed to my list, but I got way better at writing during there. And one of my posts was all about death. And I realized that so many of the things in my life were because I was just afraid of dying. Like I wouldn't take risks. I didn't really like driving even that much. There were just so many things I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so conscious of my death all the time. And I realized like if I just accept it and I know that I'm going to die eventually, then I can like fully live. And I can realize like, wow, there is no tomorrow. Really, there's just today. And this could be my last day ever. And when tomorrow comes, like it'll still be today. We live in today every single day. We never live in tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now. We choose to make the choices that we make every single day. So I realized that, wow, eventually, like I'm not going to have tomorrow anymore. I'm not going to have anything. And I guess I never really do have tomorrow. So I got to make it all about today. So if you want to live, you have to accept death.
Yeah, there's that popular quote by Benjamin Franklin who says some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. You know, if you just think about that, it's like we really stop living at a certain point and sometimes let life take over and forget to live. So I think accepting death and really coming to terms with death teaches you how to live. But continue on. I'm liking the list here.
The fourth one was drugs are a tool, not a lifestyle. And the fifth one was alcohol is poison. And those are really like, those are two things that kind of go hand in hand. I realized that in the past, I used drugs and alcohol to numb out. I used to drive to like 100 miles up to Phoenix pretty regularly and do like various drugs up and like rave and just party and I really did it because I had the worst life ever in my opinion. I just really hated my life. I hated the school I was going to. I hated the house I was living in. I wasn't a big fan of like the way that my parents raised me, and I had lots of resentment for all of that stuff, and I used them to numb out. So now like I do see the value in like some drugs, and I'm totally like for like the legalization of marijuana and stuff, but I see it more as like a tool and like using them as tools. So like if I'm ever gonna drink again or if I'm ever gonna do a drug, it'll be like as a tool, not to numb out. And I'll always ask myself like, oh, am I using this to numb out, or am I using it because I'm feeling some pain that I need to work through, or am I using it for something, or am I using it as a tool to like take me to some sort of higher consciousness or to pull me out of my regular synapses and let me kind of look and peer in. The sixth one is energy is real. I've been playing with energy a lot, and if I heard myself talk 4 years ago, maybe even a year ago, I would just have thought I'm absolutely insane. Just like the way I talk about energy and the higher consciousness, and we're all connected, and the way that I just play with energy and like pound on my body all the time so I can get more in my body. I just started to realize like, wow, I guess energy is real. And even if it's not, it's a fun way to think of it. So like the other day I was like walking or I was driving, and this like old homeless man was kind of like working his way across the street really slow. He had a walker, and I just like sent him love, and I swear like his spine just kind of jiggled a little bit. And I was like, man, I think he felt that. And like even if he didn't, it's kind of cool. And I like just living my life thinking energy is real and believing energy is real. And it makes everything a little bit more fun, and I can play with it and play with love and play with happiness and like play with how my body's feeling at every moment.
So are you talking about the law of attraction here? Just giving good energy and you're going to get back, good energy as well?
Kind of, yeah. And also like even a little bit more woo-woo than that, like physical, like weird energy, like some light and stuff. I really have no idea what I'm doing, and I have no idea like what it all even means, but I'm opening more up to that really crazy stuff could be true. That maybe like I can communicate with like the dead, or maybe like I am telepathic, or maybe like all these things like could be possible. Like who knows? Maybe the only reason we can't do them is because we all believe we can't. So just kind of playing with different things and making like the bold statement that like energy is real kind of helps me to do that and to play more in just like the woo woo, but also what you're saying, that the giving people positive vibes, giving people like a smile when you walk down the street. Like we really do like feel different things from people. So might as well be that beacon of light for people.
Huh, I like that. And continue on with your list here. Let's maybe get to 10 of your lessons, and then we'll dive into the knowledge round.
Yeah, perfect. So there's four more. The seventh one is breathe deeply for acceptance. I'm really connecting more with my breath and realizing that the deeper I breathe, the more relaxed I am. Cortisol flows less into my body. I'm less stressed out. And from this really relaxed state, it's easier for me to get things done or make big decisions. So it kind of ties along with that second one too. In the face of fear, take a bold step forward. When I feel that fear, when I hit like I kind of think of it as like an if then statement. So like if comma, and like that comma is where all the fear kicks in. And before we hit that tree of possibility where we just like get so freaked out and start to think about it, like as soon as we feel that possibility, that if comma, then just like take that step, just go in, just don't even think about the then, because the future doesn't exist outside of our mind. So take that really, really deep breath and calm down, and then take that bold step forward. The eighth one is dis-ease, is really just dis-ease. So disease is really just dis-ease. I heard Tony Robbins talk about this, and there's so much stuff out there now on the way our mind works and our belief systems affecting our physical body. So if we have something that's going wrong in our life, or if we're overworking ourselves, or if we really, really think badly about ourselves, then it'll start to manifest itself as disease in our body, and our body just won't work as well. It kind of ties along with that energy is real. Like if we're always sitting in the negative and always thinking about all the worst things, then I mean, from a scientific standpoint, like we're gonna send more cortisol into our body. But it's really just like dis-ease. It's just like discomfort. It's just like I'm not doing something right, and my body's kind of telling me that through disease, or through like the getting a flu. So every time I get the flu, I'm like, wow, I guess I really should slow down. I guess I should stop working myself so hard. And I'm kind of getting more away from oh man, like these are just like germs, and it was just like a freak accident, and more like, well, yeah, germs do exist. Like I'm not gonna discount science, but there's probably something else going on too. Like I'm working myself too hard. The ninth one is the people around you change you. There's that quote, like the five people, or your five best friends, like you'll become them. And it's really, really true. Like when I'm in San Diego, when I'm around the people I love, or when I'm on the phone, like with people like you, like I just feel really good. Like I'm pretty energized right now. I'm getting really excited about all my words. But when I'm around people who are just talking badly about other people, or when I'm around people who are just super negative all the time, like I start to become them, and I feel like those crappy parts coming out of me. And I realize that like if I want to be successful, I need to hang out with successful people. If I want to be happy, I need to hang out with happy people. So I've been kind of maneuvering myself to get into friend circles that are really crushing it in life, and really crushing it and are really, really happy overall. And then the 10th one is what we were talking about earlier. You have a choice in everything. And that really brings it back full circle. Like you have a choice in absolutely every single thing you do. You have a choice in what you believe. You have a choice to take on any of these belief systems, or to say, no, life sucks. Like I hate life. My life's terrible. Like I hate this person. I hate that person. Or you can make the choice to just be super positive, or you can make the choice to quit your job, or you can make the choice to just not do the things that don't make you happy. My brother had a really awesome quote. I don't know if he got it from somewhere, but he says it all the time. He just says, if you want to do things, or if you want to be happy, all you have to do is things that make you happy. Just do things that make you happy. And the more things that you do that make you happy, you'll just be happier. It just makes sense. But we don't think about it like that. And we go to work and we get drained, and we don't do the things that we love. So you have a choice in everything.
Wow, David, you just gave us 10 very powerful life lessons here, and you said you had 20 of them. So for the listeners who want the extra 10, you can go to davidhrostoski.com and check out his blog. So for now, for the sake of time, are you ready for the knowledge round, David?
Kind of, as ready as I'll be.
Do you ever have so many books to read that you end up not reading at all? You have so many books in your library, on your list of books that you want to read, but you don't know which books to tackle first? I know in all of my episodes, I ask guests, what are your favorite books? What are your most influential books? And they always list 3 or 4. And I always ask guests for their favorite success quote. I find that quotes can be so powerful sometimes, yet there's so many available. So what I've done is I put together a list of the top 30 books and top 30 success quotes that I think every man must live by. And these are directly from guests on the Knowledge for Men podcast. And as you know, some of the guests on my show sold their companies for millions of dollars. They're running billion-dollar organizations. They're dating coaches. They're health coaches. They're entrepreneurs. They're celebrities on TV. They're mixed martial artists. Just this wide variety of great minds. And I put together a list of the top 30 books and top 30 success quotes that every man must live by. You can download this guide for free at kfmfree.com. Again, that's kfmfree.com.
Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
All right, David, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's feeling kind of lost or unsure of their purpose?
Just start to do more things that you love. Just if you really, really hate something in your life, then figure out a way to get out of it. Like, I know I'm kind of stuck in a job right now too. I'm working a part-time job that I don't completely love, but I'm finding a way to work out of it, and I'm finding a way to make money doing things that I do love. So if you're feeling a little bit off purpose, just start doing things that you love. Start checking in, saying like, do I really like this or do I not? And then start doing more things that you like.
Great. And David, what was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
Fear. Fear is everything. I was just scared of what other people would think of me. I was scared that I would fail. I was scared of pretty much everything. And when I started living my life towards that motto, in the face of fear, take a bold step forward, everything changed. Because all it takes is that one step and that one committing step. And once you do that, you're in.
I like that. And David, can you name someone who's been a mentor to you in your life, someone who's helped you along your journey? And if so, can you share a specific moment that you guys had or something that he or she told you that really had an impact on you?
Yeah, I've mentioned my brother a lot on this interview, and he's really like my mentor. Like I really really look up to him. He's so much more than my brother. We were kind of almost disowned. We grew up in a super religious household, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he was almost like my father brother. So we're kind of transitioning out of that a little bit now, but he's still totally my mentor. And lots of the things that I get, like lots of these things, like my 21 life lessons, are from him. So like I'm really just a product of him and from the community that he's put me in. So I'm super, super thankful for him.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. Your brother is definitely an influential person and leader, especially in his space. But now, David, a challenging question as it is for everyone. What are your 3 most influential books and why?
Oh man. One of them is definitely The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. That started to turn my mind more towards that energy is real. He talks about like pushing sexual energy down your front and up your spine, and lots of stuff that the first time I read it I thought it was absolutely crazy. And the more that I read it and the more that I started to live it, the more I realized like, wow, this stuff is really cool, and I can just play with energy. I can play with life. I can be more on purpose, and it's really like the man Bible. So if I had one book to recommend to anyone, it would definitely be that.
Yeah, great book, and 2 more books.
2 more, man. This is tough.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Man, I don't even know. I don't even like read that much. Cool, perfect. Yeah, but if I had 3 books to choose, it'd be The Way of the Superior Man, The Way of the Superior Man, and The Way of the Superior Man by David Data.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I'll leave you alone on the books. But The Way of the Superior Man is a really good book, so maybe saying it 3 times is going to push someone in the direction to get that book. I really enjoyed that book. And so for the listeners, if you want to get this book for free, you can get it for free at kfmbook.com. That's kfmbook.com. You can get a free audiobook through Audible. You can get The Way of the Superior Man or, the whole library. You can get one of those books that's on there. So now, David, the next question here, I'm going to have to change up a bit. So I go through this scenario. Imagine you had 60 seconds with your 20-year-old self. What would you tell yourself to do and not to do? But in your case, since you're 21 years old, we'll just have to go back a few years and let's say your 18-year-old self. What would you tell him to do and what would you tell him not to do?
Yeah, I would tell him what I tell lots of people, and that it's just anything you want to do is totally possible. Like my 18-year-old self wanted to be a famous musician, and if I were to still carry that out, like I could have totally done it. And I now like want to be like a businessman. If I want to do that, I can do it. Like literally, like to my 18-year-old self, David, like any single thing you want to do whatsoever, just chase it, go after it. When you feel the fear, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. If you fail, it's just feedback. You can keep on going, you can keep doing it, and just never stop until you get there, and you will.
And what would you tell him not to do?
I would tell him not to stop and not to give in to that fear. That's really, really everything for me is every single time something scares me, I jump into it. But that was never my reaction before. Anytime anything scared me whatsoever, I would just shy away. And that's our normal reaction. That's like what's programmed because 10,000 years ago, if we jumped into fear, then we'd get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And we still have the response now, but it's just learning to push through that. So if you feel fear, 18-year-old David, then don't stop. Just push through it.
Yeah, I like that. This has been good. And just any last parting piece of guidance before we close out the interview?
Yeah. Just really, you can craft your own life. So I know you're listening to this podcast now, and I know that it seems really far off, and it seems like it's just way too much work, and it seems like you can't do it, and it seems like you're not the type of guy who would get in with these really awesome groups of people, or who could date the really awesome girl, or who can make a lot of money, but nobody knows what they're doing. The only thing that makes people successful is making that declaration, saying like, I am a blank, like I am a personal chef, I am a coach, I am a Knowledge for Men podcaster, and then just doing it and just jumping after it. So really you can do literally anything you want, just declare it. And then when you feel that fear, when you feel that resistance, just like keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And just start telling people that you are already what you want to do. And it'll really, really pressure you to kick into action.
Yeah, I like that. I think you just lit a fire under thousands of guys just now, David. All right, so that concludes the knowledge round. And now I was going to ask you earlier, but I'm excited to know like what you're working on today. So you just dropped out. What's next?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm doing lots of things now, and for a little bit I was thinking, man, maybe I'm doing too much, but I'm starting to realize like I'm just crafting my college experience. Like I'm crafting that last year of college for me. And I'm not actually going to university anymore, but I'm doing business with some of the most incredible minds, and I'm just finding a way to get in there. So I'm building a community called Gen Y Superhumans that I'm so excited about. It's for people 18 to 27 who are more growth oriented and who want more from life. So that's slowly growing, and I'm learning how to build community from that. So like that's my community building class. And I'm working with a men's coaching company called Inner Gladiator, and we help men like push through their dating fears and push through their fears. And that's kind of showing me what a coaching business is like and how to help men and how to coach. I'm figuring out how to brand myself like through davidhrostoski.com, through writing a book, through just like doing little Facebook blog posts. I'm learning how to like create a own personal brand, and I'm in a relationship right now, and that's super scary. And I moved in with her, and we have a year lease until like next July. So I'm in it, and I'm committed, and I took that first step. So I'm kind of learning what love is like, and how to step more into my masculine, and how to live with a girl, and how to live with someone. And I also just jumped on doing sales for conversionforgood.com, and Steve Darr, he's this like absolute genius, and he can just like kind of tweak little things on your website and make you like hundreds and hundreds of percents more than you were making before. His like tagline is like, I turn money into even more money. So that's teaching me what it's like to like work for someone and like work in sales and like really, really do it, and what it looks like in this kind of context in like the real business world. So I've kind of set up my own little like 5-class college load, and it's super scary because I'm doing a lot, but it feels really good. Like I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. I'm learning hundreds of times more than I would have in college, reading about theories and reading books. And I'm working a part-time job now to just kind of support myself. And there's nothing wrong with like a 9 to 5. There's absolutely nothing wrong with working a normal job. It's just like whatever makes you happy. So I feel super good about my life right now. And it's really just like I'm figuring everything out, and I'm super scared all the time. And there are tons of times where I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, and I have no idea where I'm headed. and I have no idea how I can get this or how I can get more money, how I can like have a better relationship, how I can like manage my way around this world. But I realized that nobody knows what they're doing, and I'm learning from like 5 of the most incredible people in the country, and I'm super excited to just soak up as much as I can during this year, and from there we'll see where I go, whatever scares me.
Yeah, it sounds like you got your hands full there, and you're doing a lot of different things, but you're learning so much. And all of those skills may not seem like you're making progress financially, but you're learning the skills that when you combine all of them together, you're going to create something that's really going to have an impact on a lot of people. I could just feel that. So now, how can my audience follow up with you?
Cool. So you can find me at davidhrostoski.com. That's David, HROSTOSKI.com. And there's all my projects, every single thing I'm working on. If I ever hold any events around the country, it'll be on there too. There's a contact me form if you want to get in touch with me. And all my like Facebook little microblog posts, so you can find that 21 Life Lessons post too. So davidhrostoski.com, and I'll see you there.
All right, David, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story, being vulnerable here with my community, and the 10 lessons you shared with us. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
All right, and that's going to wrap up episode 101 with David Hrostoski.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast show. It's been a pleasure having you be a part of a thriving community of men who want to crush it in all aspects of life. I'm on a mission here to inspire millions of guys, and with your help, we're going to make a dent in the universe. Check out knowledgeformen.com for a ton of free content that's designed to help you live a remarkable life. Again, that's knowledgeformen.com. I hope to see you there. And always remember, 2014 is the official year of the crush, where we take action to get the life we've always dreamed of. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, and until next time, let's do it.